All right, so today we're diving into Reboot, this business novel
Oh, yeah.
that kind of had me hooked from page one. And we're going to be talking about money, finance, and some really relatable life lessons,
Yeah.
all wrapped up in this story
It's such a good story.
that is it's both like entertaining and enlightening.
I know, and what I think is really clever about this book is it sneaks in all this like financial wisdom without ever making you feel like you're
Right.
reading a textbook.
Yes, exactly.
It follows Lisa, who's this recently divorced woman, and she finds herself kind of forced to confront her own financial illiteracy, and her journey is something else. It's really good.
Oh, it's so good. I mean, who hasn't felt a little lost
Right.
when it comes to money, right?
Right. All the time.
Like at some point.
Yeah.
And the book starts by introducing us to Lisa and her background. And right away, you can kind of see how her past experiences shaped her
Yeah.
relationship with money.
Exactly. She's this fascinating mix of frugality and extravagance. I mean,
Yeah.
she grows up in this Chinese-American family where saving was like everything, right?
Right.
But then, fast forward, she's living this high-income lifestyle, but without the financial know-how to match it.
And to think she's a Harvard grad, summa cum laude,
I know.
you wouldn't
I'd
expect
never know.
someone so intelligent to be clueless about finances. But that's kind of the point, right?
Right. Right?
That even the brightest minds can neglect their financial well-being.
It's so true. Like,
Yeah.
Reboot is really showing us that it doesn't matter how smart you are. It's really about habits
Yes.
and your mindset and
Yeah.
facing these uncomfortable truths about your own financial blind spots.
Totally. And Lisa has a really, really rude awakening.
Oh, yeah.
Her seemingly perfect life implodes when she discovers her husband's infidelity. And suddenly, she's not just dealing with a broken heart, but a financial mess she
Sure.
never saw coming.
It's a complete,
Well,
180, right?
Yeah.
Her whole life is turned upside down. The divorce kind of becomes a catalyst for Lisa's whole financial journey. She's forced to confront
Yes.
the reality of her situation
Yeah.
to finally grapple with all these financial concepts she'd always avoided.
You can almost feel her panic as she
Yeah.
realizes, like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I have no idea how to manage my money.
Right. And that's where Jasmine, her financial advisor,
Yeah.
comes in.
Yes.
And she becomes this incredible mentor
Yeah.
and guide, not just for Lisa, but also for the reader as well.
Jasmine is the financial guru we all wish we had, right?
Oh, totally. We all need a Jasmine in our lives.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
She breaks down these complex topics into bite-sized pieces using
Yeah.
relatable examples and these analogies. And you're just like, oh, I get it now.
That's how I felt the whole time reading this book.
Yes, exactly. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. That makes sense now.
I love how their relationship goes beyond just client and advisor, right? Like they bond over boxing,
Oh, well, the box.
which I thought was just such a brilliant touch, right?
Yeah.
Like it is.
It speaks to their strengths, their determination.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant.
I know. It adds a whole other layer to the story because it really shows us that financial empowerment, it's more than just numbers. It's about resilience. It's about facing challenges.
Yes.
And finding that inner strength to take control of your financial life.
Yes. And Jasmine takes Lisa under her wing
She does.
and starts this financial boot camp, right?
She does.
Tackling everything from credit card debt to retirement planning.
Yeah.
And one of the first aha moments for Lisa, and honestly for me too, was around credit card debt.
Oh, it's such a trap. That whole I'll just put it on my card thing.
Right.
Jasmine just breaks it down so well.
Yeah.
She explains how credit card companies, they actually profit from our overspending and how quickly that debt can spiral.
You know, it made me rethink my own credit card habits, for sure.
Oh my gosh, same.
Yeah, and then there's this concept of the time value of money,
Right.
which, again, Jasmine explains in a way
I know.
that even I could understand.
Right.
She uses this example of choosing between, like, $1,000 today or $1,000 in 10 years.
Right. It sounds obvious, but it's such a profound concept.
Yeah.
Money that you have now has so much more potential to grow than if you wait to get it later. It's it underlies everything in finance. It's fundamental, like loans and investing and any financial decision where time is a factor.
It's like that light bulb moment.
Yes.
You're like, oh, that's why saving and investing early is so important.
Yes, exactly.
And Jasmine gives this rule of thumb
Oh,
for borrowing. She's like, a loan is really only profitable if the return on your investment is higher than the interest rate on the loan.
I thought that was such a good takeaway for anyone who's
Yes.
thinking about taking on debt.
Yes.
It makes you think about how you're using that borrowed money and that you're not just digging yourself into a deeper hole.
And there's this hilarious scene where Lisa is car shopping and she comes across this thing called Sperling's Rule. I don't want to spoil it.
I know.
But let's just say Jasmine just expertly debunks this so-called rule and shows how easily we can be misled by financial advice that just sounds good on the surface.
Exactly. Don't just take things at face value, especially when it comes to your money.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of questionable advice, Lisa's brother, Michael.
Oh, Michael.
He's a character who's all about speculation.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's obsessed with cryptos.
I know. It's just like...
Much like their father.
Like father, like son.
Was with Beanie Babies back in the day.
I know. Remember those? Oh, my God.
Remember those? All my...
It's history repeating itself.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And he just represents that allure of quick riches, right? The get rich quick mentality is so tempting, but so dangerous.
You know, it makes you think, what's your investment style, right?
Yes.
Are you more of a risk taker like Michael, or are you more cautious and focused on the long term like Jasmine?
And then there's the whole retirement planning aspect.
Right.
Which honestly can be a bit of a snooze fest.
Yeah.
Reboot actually makes it interesting.
It does, and it busts some myths, you know, like delaying Social Security until 70 is always the best.
Right.
Which is not always true.
Yes. And she also breaks down the importance of understanding tax advantages when it comes to retirement accounts.
Yeah.
Like 401ks and Roth IRAs, stuff we all know we should be thinking about.
Yeah.
But Reboot makes you actually want to learn more.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
And one of the most compelling concepts in the book
Oh, tell me about it.
is this idea of a crossover point.
Yes. Where your passive income surpasses your working income.
Yes. And it just got me thinking about my own financial goals.
Right.
Because it's that moment when your money starts working harder than you do.
And the novel uses all these charts and graphs, and it shows how consistent saving, even if it's small amounts, can lead to big wealth accumulation over time. It's so powerful.
Yeah, and it's not just about getting rich.
Yeah.
It's about having choices.
Right.
It's about pursuing your passions without those financial constraints.
And you know what? Lisa goes through this incredible transformation as she's learning all this stuff.
Oh, she does.
It's not just numbers and spreadsheets. It's like personal growth, you know, self-discovery, and she creates this life that really aligns with her values.
It's like she's hitting the reset button on her entire life.
Yes, exactly. She's rebooting herself.
Exactly.
She starts exploring hobbies, reconnecting with her kids,
Yes.
and even tries an In-N-Out burger for the first time.
I know. That part had me chuckling.
Me too.
It's like such a simple detail, but it says so much about
I know.
her newfound sense of freedom.
Yes, totally.
And her willingness to try new things. It's inspiring to see how she takes control of her finances.
Yeah.
And then, in turn, takes control of her life.
And then there's this twist, right?
Yeah.
Even her brother, Michael, the crypto guy,
Yes.
starts to see the value in what she's doing.
Right.
He has this unexpected moment of appreciation for her financial awakening. And, you know, it shows how one person's transformation can inspire others.
It's a subtle reminder that learning about personal finance isn't just about you. It can impact those around you as well.
Absolutely. It's like throwing a pebble into a pond and the ripples spread outwards, creating a positive change.
Oh, I love that analogy. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It captures the subtle, the powerful impact Lisa's journey has on those around her. But let's talk about that crossover point you mentioned earlier.
Okay.
It's such a tantalizing concept.
Yeah.
But how does the book actually illustrate it? Is it just about visualizing those growing numbers on a chart?
So it is more than just watching the numbers climb, although that's definitely motivating.
Sure.
But Reboot uses these visual aids and scenarios to bring the concept to life. So imagine a graph where one line is your working income, nice and steady, right?
Yeah.
And the other line is your passive income.
Yeah.
And that's gradually increasing over time as your investments are growing.
Okay, so the passive income line's probably looking kind of small at first, right?
Exactly. But with consistent saving and smart investing, that line starts climbing slowly but surely, and then bam, it intersects with that working income line.
Right.
That's the crossover point. That's the moment when the money you're making from your investments is more than from your job.
That's got to be an incredible feeling.
I know.
It's like reaching that financial tipping point.
Yes.
Where you're no longer trading your time for money.
And from that point on, that line just keeps climbing. It just keeps going up, up, up.
Oh, wow.
And it gives you that freedom and security. Even if you want work less, you can.
Now, I get why this concept resonated with you so much.
I know.
It's not just about becoming wealthy. It's about reaching that level of financial independence that allows you to live life on your own terms.
And that's what I love about Reboot, It's not about crunching numbers and following some rigid financial plan.
Right.
It's about aligning your money with your values and creating a life that's financially sound but also personally fulfilling.
Speaking of values, one of the things that really struck me about Lisa's story is how she navigates the complexities of family relationship, especially when it comes to money. Her attempts to reconnect with her adult children, Noah and Anna, add this whole other layer to the story.
They do. Because you have Noah, who's this idealistic, aspiring filmmaker, and Anna, who's more focused on that typical college experience,
Yes.
Maybe a little too focused.
A little.
Yeah, maybe a little.
And their different values and lifestyles create some tension with Lisa, especially as she's reevaluating her own priorities.
It's like a microcosm of the challenges a lot of families face.
I know. It's so relatable. Even if they haven't gone through a dramatic divorce like Lisa has.
It shows how money's often intertwined with these personal values and beliefs, and those differences can lead to, misunderstandings and conflicts, even in families who love each other.
And one thing I was curious about is how Lisa handles the whole spousal support situation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's understandably furious when she learns that she has to pay Eric.
Oh, yeah. She feels completely betrayed, taken advantage of, and she's angry.
Right.
She's resentful. But Reboot doesn't shy away from that complexity of divorce settlements. It acknowledges those raw emotions while also diving into those legal and financial implications.
I'm guessing Jasmine helps her see the bigger picture. That it's not just about punishing Eric, but about finding a fair and practical solution.
Totally. Jasmine's right there with her, guiding her through it all, helping her understand the legal stuff, the financial realities, and ultimately the importance of letting go and moving on.
And I can only imagine how tough that is for Lisa. It's not just about the money.
It's not. It's emotional.
It's about grappling with that baggage of a failed marriage and finding a way to disentangle her life from her exes.
It's a good reminder that financial decisions, especially with divorce, are often tied up with these complex emotions and past choices.
Right.
It's not always about finding the perfect, correct answer, but one that lets you move on with your life.
Speaking of moving on, Lisa's decision to adopt a dog really stood out to me.
Oh, yeah.
It felt like this symbol of her newfound freedom.
It is.
And her willingness to embrace new beginnings.
Such a heartwarming detail, and it says a lot about Lisa's transformation.
Yeah.
She's not focused on climbing the corporate ladder or making tons of money.
Right.
She's prioritizing her happiness, her well-being, and she's creating a life that's full of simple joys.
And who doesn't love a dog?
Yeah.
It adds this touch of warmth and humor to the story, especially as she navigates, the ups and downs of dog ownership.
It's a nice reminder that financial freedom isn't just about reaching some magical number in your bank account.
Right.
It's about having the resources and flexibility to live a life that brings you joy, whether that's adopting a pet, pursuing a passion, or just spending more time with people you love.
For a book about finance, Reboot sure does
delve
into some deep emotional territory.
It does, doesn't it?
It's not just about the mechanics of money. It's about the human stories behind those financial decisions.
That's what makes it so relatable.
Yeah.
It's not just some dry textbook or get-rich-quick scheme.
And it's all wrapped up in a story that's genuinely entertaining.
It is. I was hooked.
Like, you're rooting for Lisa, you're laughing with her, and maybe even shedding a tear or two along the way.
I did.
And I think what sets Reboot apart is its focus on empowerment.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about telling you what to do with your money. It's about giving you the tools and knowledge to make informed decisions that align with your own values and goals.
It really encourages the reader to, own their financial journey.
Yes.
And to seek out that reliable information and not be afraid to ask questions.
So for our listeners who are maybe feeling a little intimidated by the world of finance, would you say Reboot is a good starting point?
Oh, absolutely. It's like dipping your toes in the pool without feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Introduces those key concepts in a relatable way. sparks that curiosity and makes you want to learn more.
It's like that friend that can explain something really complicated
Exactly.
in a way that suddenly makes perfect sense.
It does, and it doesn't judge.
Yes.
It meets you where you are, acknowledges that everybody's financial journey is different,
Yes.
and empowers you to take those first steps towards a more secure and fulfilling financial future.
Well said. Now, I know we've been kind of dancing around some plot points.
I know.
To avoid spoilers, but there is one thing I can't resist asking about.
Okay.
Lisa's passion project, the cooking school.
Oh, yes.
How does that tie into the whole financial freedom thing?
That's where the reboot really comes full circle. I don't want to give too much away, but let's just say Lisa's journey isn't just about escaping this financial mess.
Yeah.
It's about rediscovering her passions and using what she's learned to create a life that truly reflects her values.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds intriguing.
I know, right?
I'm getting eat, pray, love vibes, but with a financial twist.
That's a good way to put it. It's all about second chances, breaking free from expectations, and using those resources to create a life that's both personally and financially fulfilling.
Okay, now I'm even more curious to see how this all unfolds.
It's so cool.
We've covered a lot today, from credit card debt to retirement planning, family dynamics, entrepreneurial dreams. It's clear that Reboot is so much more than just a financial how-to.
It's about the human experience.
Yeah.
It's about hopes, fears, dreams, and how our relationship with money affects all of it.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
So for our listeners who are intrigued by what we've discussed today, what would you say is the biggest takeaway from Reboot?
I think the most important thing is that financial literacy, it's not just about numbers.
Yeah.
It's about freedom. It's about choice. It's about empowerment.
Yeah.
And it's about understanding those tools and those concepts so that you can create a life
Yes.
that aligns with what you value and what you want to do.
Yes.
And it's never too late to start.
It's never too late to start, exactly. Reboot is a reminder that we all have that power to take control of our finances, no matter where we're starting from.
Yes.
It's a story that will resonate with anyone who has ever felt lost or confused or simply curious about the world of money.
It's such a good read.
Yeah, and for those who are ready to delve deeper, to explore those concepts further, or simply to have someone guide them, don't hesitate to reach out to a financial advisor.
Good advice.
They can help you navigate the complexities of the financial world.
Absolutely.
And create a plan that aligns with your goals.
Absolutely.
Well said. And remember, financial literacy is a journey, not a destination.
Very true.
Take it one step at a time. Be curious, ask questions, and never stop learning.
Well, it's been a pleasure diving into Reboot with you.
Yes, it has.
I hope this got everyone a little bit curious.
Yeah, and maybe inspired you to explore your own relationship with money.
Definitely.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep rebooting your life in ways that bring you joy and fulfillment.
See you next time?
Yeah.
It's like she's throwing a pebble into a pond and the ripples spread outwards, creating this positive change in her whole family.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It perfectly captures that subtle but powerful impact of her journey on those around her. But let's talk about that crossover point again.
Okay.
Such a cool concept.
Yeah.
But how does the book illustrate it?
Okay.
Is it just about like seeing those growing numbers on a chart?
It's more than just seeing the numbers climb, although obviously that's motivating.
Yeah.
But Reboot uses a combo of visuals and relatable scenarios to bring the concept to life.
Yeah.
So picture a graph where one line represents your working income, steady, predictable, and the other line represents your passive income, which is gradually increasing as your investments grow.
Okay, I'm picturing, so the passive income line is looking pretty wimpy at first, right?
Totally. But with consistent saving and smart investing, that line starts to climb slowly but surely, and then bam, it intersects with that working income line.
Wow.
That's the crossover point. That's when the money you're making from your investments surpasses what you're making at your job.
That's got to be an awesome feeling.
I know, right?
It's like you're reaching this financial tipping point where you're not trading your time for money anymore.
And from that point on, that passive income line, it just keeps climbing up, up, up.
Oh, wow.
Giving you that security and freedom. Even if you want to work less, you can...
That's the dream, right?
Hey, I know.
Now I understand why this concept resonated with you so much.
I know. It's so powerful.
It's not just about, like, being rich.
Yeah.
It's about reaching a level of financial independence.
Yes.
Where you can live life on your own terms.
And that's what makes this book so special. It's not just about numbers. Yeah. It's about making your money work with your values.
Yes.
And creating a life that's both financially sound and fulfilling.
Speaking of values, one thing that stood out was how Lisa navigates these family relationships, especially with money.
Right.
Her attempts to reconnect with her kids, Noah and Anna, add this whole other layer to the story.
Absolutely. So you've got Noah, who's this like idealistic filmmaker.
Right.
And then you've got Anna, who's more focused on that typical, college experience. Maybe a little too focused.
Maybe a little.
On that. Yeah.
And their different values and lifestyles. It creates some tension with Lisa, especially as she's like, figuring things out for herself.
Totally.
And reevaluating her own priorities.
It's so relatable. It's like a glimpse into what so many families go through.
I know, it's so true.
Even if they haven't been through a divorce like Lisa.
Right, exactly.
It shows how money can be so intertwined with these really personal values and beliefs.
One thing I was curious about was how Lisa handles that whole spousal support thing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's furious when she learns that she has to pay Eric, right?
Oh, she's so angry.
Yeah.
She feels betrayed. Like, he totally took advantage of her. And Reboot doesn't shy away from those feelings.
It doesn't.
And the complexities of divorce settlements, it really acknowledges those raw emotions while also getting into, the legal and financial stuff.
So I'm guessing Jasmine helps her see the bigger picture?
Totally. Jasmine guides her through it.
Yeah.
Helps her to understand the legal side and the financial realities and ultimately the importance of moving on.
It can't be easy for her. It's not just the money.
It's not.
It's about the emotional baggage of a failed marriage.
Yes, exactly.
And like untangling her life from her ex.
It's a powerful reminder that financial decisions, especially with divorce, are tied to these complex emotions. Yeah. It's not always about finding the perfect answer.
Right.
It's about finding a way to move forward.
And speaking of moving on, Lisa's decision to adopt a dog.
Oh my gosh, yes.
This really stood out to me. It felt like this symbol of her newfound freedom.
It is.
And her willingness to just embrace these new beginnings.
It's such a sweet detail, and it says so much about her transformation. Yeah. She's not focused on the corporate world anymore. She's prioritizing her own happiness, her well-being, and creating a life that's full of joy.
And who doesn't love a dog? It adds this warmth and humor to the story as she's figuring out, being a dog owner.
It's a nice reminder that financial freedom, it's not just about a number in your bank account.
Exactly.
It's about having the resources and the flexibility to create a life that you love.
Whether that's adopting a pet, pursuing a passion, or just spending time with loved ones.
Right.
It's about having choices.
Right. Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
For a book about finance, Reboot sure does.
I know. It's so good.
Delve into some deep emotional stuff.
It does, doesn't it?
It's not just about the numbers.
It's about the human side of money.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. It's about the stories behind the decisions.
And it's all wrapped up in a story that's so much fun to read.
I was hooked. I could not put it down.
Oh, right.
It was so good.
You find yourself rooting for Lisa. You're laughing with her. Maybe shedding a tear or two.
A few tears.
Along the way.
I know.
And I think what really sets this book apart
is
its focus on empowerment, right? It's not about telling you what to do with your money.
Right.
It's about giving you the tools and knowledge to make those decisions for yourself.
It encourages you to take charge of your own finances, seek out good information, and to ask those questions.
So for our listeners who are maybe a little intimidated by the world of finance, what you say, Reboot is a good starting point.
Oh, 100%. It's like dipping your toe in the pool without feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It introduces you to these key concepts in a way that just makes sense.
Yeah, it's so clear.
And it makes you want to learn more.
Like that friend who can explain something complicated.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh, that makes so much sense now.
It really does. And the best part is it doesn't judge.
Right.
It meets you where you are, recognizes that everybody's journey is different, and it empowers you to take those first steps toward a more secure and fulfilling financial future.
Well said. Now, I know we've been dancing around some plot points to avoid spoilers, but there's one thing I've got to ask about. Lisa's passion project, the cooking school.
Yes.
How does that tie into the whole financial freedom thing?
That is a great question. And that's where that whole reboot thing really comes full circle. And I don't want to give too much away.
Sure.
But Lisa's journey isn't just about escaping her financial mess.
Right.
It's about rediscovering her passions and using what she's learned to create a life that aligns with her values.
Ooh, that sounds intriguing. I'm getting Eat, Pray, Love vibes.
I know, right?
But with a financial twist.
It's a story about second chances, breaking free, and using what you've got to create a life that's both personally and financially fulfilling.
Okay, now I'm even more curious to see how it all plays out.
I know.
We've covered so much today. Credit card debt, retirement planning, family dynamics, entrepreneurial dreams. It's clear that Reboot is so much more.
It really is.
Than just a financial how-to guide.
It's about the human experience, our hopes and fears, and how our relationship with money can impact all of it.
Beautifully put. So for our listeners who are intrigued by what we've talked about today, what would you say is the biggest takeaway from Reboot?
The most important thing to remember is that financial literacy, it's not just about the numbers.
Right.
It's about freedom. It's about having choices. It's about being empowered. It's about understanding the tools and concepts so that you can create a life that aligns with what you value and what you want to do.
And it's never too late to start.
It's never too late.
Reboot is such a great reminder that we all have the power to take control of our finances.
Absolutely.
No matter where we're starting from. It's a story that will resonate with anyone who's ever felt lost, confused, or just curious about money.
It's such a good book.
And for those who want to dig deeper, explore these concepts further, or maybe have someone guide them, don't hesitate to reach out to a financial advisor. They can really help navigate the complexities of the financial world.
They can.
And create a plan that aligns with your goals.
Yes, good advice.
Well said. And remember, financial literacy is a journey, not a destination.
That's so true.
Take it one step at a time, be curious, ask questions, and never stop learning.
Well, it's been great diving into Reboot with you.
Yeah, this is fun.
I hope we sparked some curiosity and maybe got people thinking about their own
hope so.
relationship with money. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep rebooting your life in ways that bring you joy and fulfillment.
Awesome. See you next time.
It's funny, we often think of financial freedom as like this far-off goal, right?
Oh, yeah.
Something we'll achieve someday.
When we're old?
Yeah, when we have enough money saved, when we retire. But Reboot kind of challenges that, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like financial freedom is a mindset, you know?
It's a way of thinking about your money that gives you the power to make choices that work with your values, no matter what your financial situation is right now.
That is such a good point. It's not about, like, waiting for permission.
Right.
Or reaching some random milestone.
Exactly.
It's about taking control and making choices that get you closer to the life you want to live.
And that's what's so inspiring about Lisa's journey. She doesn't wait for like a windfall or the perfect moment. She just starts taking small steps, changing her spending habits, learning about investing, and slowly building up her knowledge and confidence.
I think that's what makes it so relatable, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's not like a magic formula or overnight success.
It's the small wins that add up over time.
It's about consistency.
Yeah.
And speaking of those ripple effects, one thing that struck me about Reboot was how her transformation even inspires her brother, Michael, who's,
who's skeptical.
Skeptical at first.
Yeah, like that's the thing about knowledge, right?
Yeah.
It spreads.
Yes.
And it influences not just our lives, but also the lives of those around us.
Yeah.
And Michael, even though he's like, whatever, at first, he eventually comes around.
Yes.
And he starts to see the value in what she's doing.
It's a good point about how we can impact others by just sharing what we've learned and leading by example.
It's also important to surround yourself with people who want you to grow and change.
Yes, 100%.
Even when it's something as personal as, your finances.
So as we wrap up this deep dive on Reboot, what would you say is like the most valuable lesson?
Ooh, that's a good one.
For our listeners.
I think the most important takeaway is that it's not just about knowing the right formulas or investment strategies. It's about understanding that you have choices.
Yes.
And about making sure your financial decisions match your values.
Absolutely.
It's about realizing that money is a tool, something you can use to create a life that's both financially secure and fulfilling.
And it's about having the knowledge and confidence to make those choices for yourself.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Taking control.
Yeah.
Designing a life that reflects your dreams.
It's a story for anyone who's felt overwhelmed by finances.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone who has dreamed of a better future, anyone who's just curious about the power of financial literacy.
Right. It's a good reminder that it's never too late to start making those changes.
To create a life that's meaningful.
Yes.
So if you're looking for a book that will inspire you to take charge of your finances, to rethink your assumptions, and to start your own journey of empowerment.
Definitely check out Reboot.
Yeah, definitely check out Reboot.
And if you find yourself wanting to go deeper, or maybe you just need someone to help you along the way.
Right.
Don't be afraid to reach out to a financial advisor.
Yeah, that's great advice.
They can help you.
Yeah.
Make a plan.
They can make sense of it all for you.
Yeah, and create a plan that really works for you.
That aligns with your values.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Thanks.
And remember, financial literacy is a journey.
Yes.
Not a destination.
It's a process.
Take it slow. Be curious. Ask questions. Never stop learning.
Well, it's been fun diving into Reboot with you.
Yes, it has.
I hope this has inspired people to think about their own finances.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep rebooting your life in ways that bring you joy and fulfillment.